Welcome to you both. It's great to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Well, let me start with you, Ms. Crow. Just explain what are you doing, what's happening. 4 songs, 4 good ones, I think, right?
Well, Laurie and I are basically taking our message out to kids on college campuses because we feel like that's where most of the great social movements have begun, and we're just taking it to the people and talking about what's happening with climate change and global warming, and trying to disseminate some useful information and inspire kids to really start being involved in this movement.
And
we really believe that I'm sorry. I was just going to say we really believe that the movement to stop global warming has to be the biggest movement this country's ever seen, and you can't do that without college kids. So we need them.
So a lot of social change has been engendered on college campuses. So that's the place to go. That makes some sense. Ms. David, while I've got you here, in the past we've talked about whether it's been put to bed that global warming, climate change is indeed caused by humans. Your contention is that there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever at this point.
Well, you know what? It's not my opinion. It's the opinion of 2,000 scientists from 150 countries. The globe is warming. Humans are causing it. We now should be focusing all our attention on solutions.
Because it's true. We all, obviously, we all want the best we can possibly have for our children and for the planet. You had a documentary, won an Oscar, Al Gore documentary. I was wondering whether you saw this UK documentary. I want to just bring up a couple of the things that are presented in that documentary. That you know that there are still skeptics. I know that you have to deal with skeptics at this point. And let me just show you, read from a couple of these comments here from this documentary. Let's see if we have that. I can just tell you, it says Earth's 4.5 billion year history is a long story of climate changes. There are several periods in history, in the medieval warm period and the Holocene maximum, which were much warmer than today. From 1947 until 1980, the Earth experienced a significant cooling period, despite all of the CO2 that was being produced at that time. It also goes on to say that Antarctic ice core samples show that the rise in carbon dioxide lags behind temperature rise by 800 years. It goes on and on. I don't know whether you've actually seen the documentary or not, Ms. David.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I do believe in fact and science. I mean, this is, this again isn't my opinion, and the world has complete consensus on this. And I would just question who funded the documentary and what their agenda is. I mean, I would ask that question, really.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the debate is over.
They go on to say in this is the last one I'll read. The UN's much vaunted IPCC report was heralded as closing the case. But as the show explains, the conclusion was politically driven, and they deliberately censored any dissenting scientists while still listing them as participants, leading some to even threaten legal action against the IPCC.
Let me just say this, okay? There's now more CO2 in the atmosphere than in the last 650,000 years. Now, just basic common sense says that cannot be a good thing. And, it's extreme weather in both directions. And
right.
Every single day on the news, you guys are talking about extreme weather. So there you go. 2006 was the warmest, wait a second, 2006 was the warmest year on record, and they're saying 2007 is going to be worse. Something is happening, and we need to start acting. We really need to put the debate behind us.
But in the past, there have been levels of CO2 15, 16 times current levels without any warming. They also go on to say here, sunspot and solar radiation activity almost exactly parallel temperature changes on Earth. Are we sure it has nothing to do with cosmic rays or sunspot activity or volcanoes? The footprint of humans for CO2 is apparently fairly small compared to volcanoes.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I urge you to see An Inconvenient Truth, because Al Gore answers all these questions beautifully in the movie. It's the reason why this movie has had such a big impact. And I urge you and all your viewers to watch it.
Yeah, because some of the mail that we got today, some of our viewers are still skeptical on this, too. I want to give you the opportunity to answer something. Let me just ask one other thing. Near-term problems in the world include things like poverty and hunger and a lack of vaccines and AIDS in Africa, AIDS everywhere. This is something way out in the future. It's going to be expensive. We're going to have to deploy a lot of resources for this. Does it really make sense to do it there when we've got all these pressing problems that are so near term?
I don't know how you can say this is way out in the future. This is happening
now.
right now, and we're seeing the impacts right now, and they're all around us. And you know, we just came through the warmest winter we've had, the worst wildfire season we ever had. I mean, there are records being broken every single day. 2,300 heat records broken last July alone. How can you say the impacts are in the future? They're happening right this second. That's why this is so urgent. That's why we're out on the road talking to college students, and you know, we have to start putting all this energy, all the time we have for interviews, into how are we going to solve this.
Ms. Kerr, do you have an idea if we're not going to use hydrocarbons, what should we use at this point? Would we go the solar route or the wind route, or perhaps maybe nuclear?
I think there are lots of opportunities to explore wind power, solar power, obviously. We can use coal. We've got to go with clean coal plants instead of these dirty coal plants. And I guess I don't understand the reticence that people are displaying on this subject when we're living through what I feel like are perfect examples of what's happening and what we can expect in the future. And I think there's a certain amount of arrogance with that. Obviously, there's a lot of fear and lots of misinformation. Mm-hmm. And I think the longer we drag our feet, when we have scientists all over the world who are saying the window is about 10 years, and these are conservative people, that the time is now to be acting. And we can certainly wait until the outcome is on our doorstep and it's affecting us in our daily life. And you're talking about disease. We don't even know disease yet. We're talking about malaria entering into Texas. We just heard the governor of Arlington talking about this.
A Republican?
The mayor of Arlington, a Republican, talking about what's going to happen in health just in this country, and talking about the Andes not having ice on the mountains, and that is the water source to all the people in Peru. This is dire, and it's happening, and to sit back and think, well, this is not happening, and we're just going to wait until we really see that comes, is a dangerous, dangerous way to look at this.
And this is a way for you, too, obviously, to get the message out as well. Because you see some polls where you look at a person's priorities for what they're most worried about, and you don't see. You see terrorism, and you see this and that, and then way down in 7th or 8th place. So it's almost as if people acknowledge the UN report, but for some reason it just seems too far out. So I guess that's part of the reason.
I think people are talking about it. It's in every magazine right now. It's in every newspaper. People are starting to talk about this. This whole, I don't want to get into the political aspect of the war, but when you're talking about climate, when you're talking about the organism that we live on, when it starts becoming sick, we're going to suffer the outcome of that. And it's going to become a topic, the further in we are, the longer we wait, it's going to become the only topic.
And by the way, it's going to become a top-tier voting issue for both parties. Okay. You're going to see candidates from both parties who are going to take on global warming in a big way.
Ladies, thank you for your time today. Good luck on the tour. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, you're welcome.